said, if and when. And they were like, what? I said, if and when we lose a game, guys, you got to keep the outside noise out, the inside noise in. And so the if and when this happened, and I'm a realist, when it happened, because it was going to happen, yes. Whether it was week 1, 2, 3, 4, because like I said, the goalposts will always be moved when you're successful and you had a program like any of the Region 1 programs. Right. The same things I hear Coach Calhoun going to hear, the same things I hear Coach Felton going to hear. And so, because Coach Felton, they beat us, and now they're going against Cobra. The next thing somebody's going to say, well, can y'all beat Cobra? It's going to all.
Welcome, this is the Wildcat Show with Coach Travis Roland, sponsored by the Bennett Automotive Group. Hi, I'm Calvin Wilson of Explosive Sports Training. We're going to get into last week's game against Valdosta. We're going to recap this game against Valdosta, Coach. Hard-fought game. We played all the way to the end.
Yep.
But it wasn't an ideal condition. But I'm going to say this, it wasn't ideal conditions for anybody.
For nobody.
Playing on a Saturday, 1 o'clock. I just want to talk about the kid, Todd Robinson of Valdosta.
Baller.
Yeah, I think his IQ sets him apart. I mean, and the style of offense that they play, this kid is the right fit for it. I saw a couple of times where he had the little he came out, the guy blocked, he went out for the little pass, and he threw a sidearm throw.
Sir. Yes, sir.
He changed the angle of his arm, and he made a great play. Talk about Todd Robinson and the effect that he had on this game.
Shoot, man, he showed why he a Georgia commit. And he's a Georgia commit to play DB. I might argue they need to put him at running back, receiver, or something just because of how explosive he is with the ball in his hands. But I think he's a kid that I think he's been starting now for 3 years. And so you see a kid like that, he plays with such amazing patience. He knows the pace to play with. He's not out just running because he's a 700-meter kid. He's not just running to run. He's controlling the pace of when to turn it on, when to go hard. And so I think he had total command of that offense. He was super locked in. You could tell it. He's a kid that could score a touchdown, look at me and talk trash and get right back to his job. And so that shows the level of player that he is, man. He's a phenomenal kid. He had a great football game. They had a great play. Anytime your best players are playing quarterback, he's got the ball in his hands every time. And what they're doing on offense they have great scheme on what they're doing, and it allows him to make the decisions and then get on the edge and still make another decision. So he's a kid that's making 3-4 decisions in one play, and he's capable of doing it.
I like what you said about the rhythm of the game, because I like to put stuff into like basketball, because if I'm going one speed all the time, if I'm on defense, I can kind of judge your speed. Absolutely. But if I'm changing speeds, and I tell kids sometimes, like, when you're a baller, sometimes you listening to music while you playing.
Absolutely.
It's crazy to people that don't understand, but like when I'm in a rhythm, I can hear something that nobody else can hear.
Right.
And they may be playing the one rhythm, but I'm playing to a whole nother rhythm. And this is how this kid was. It was a couple of times we had them like 3rd and 25, 3rd and 15. And the back coverage was great.
Yeah.
Even up front, we kept him in the pocket or whatever, but he was smart enough to see that, okay, man, everybody's ran off.
Yeah.
And for anybody on our team to beat him to the corner
hard
in the front 7, it wasn't gonna happen.
Yeah. I think he also realized, we had a spy on him every play, sometimes 2. I think though, because of who he is, like we're talking about, right, a kid that understands scheme and understands football, he realized to those guys, he started being able to identify who it was. And I think he did a good job of kind of setting them up and then being able to use his athleticism, like I said, his pace, right? You're thinking you're matching his pace. You can't afford to do that because he has one more gear. Yeah. Again, proven by the 10.6, 10.7, 100-meter speed he's got. And so I think he just did a good job of recognizing that. Like you say, sometimes when we guard the vertical routes, even the mesh that they do a good job of, we guarded it. But then once those routes got going and then scramble drill starts, now we got to turn our back to stay attached to receivers. And now he's able to figure out, get an angle on the spy guy and be able to just use his athleticism, not run him. And you see that in the pros every day with certain guys who can run like Lamar, Josh Allen, those kind of guys. That kid is in that vein where he's able to, extend the play and then make a great decision.
Right. Now I want to go to our defense. You told me after the game, and a lot of people after the game, you would never see our defense play that way again.
Ever.
And what do you meant about that, Coach?
Just effort, man, and being physical. We weren't physical with those guys. Like, I'm a handsy defensive back teaching coach, so we got to be physical receivers. And I always say, if we go through a game where guys have caught balls and they were open, right, or they have a good game with the yardage wise, and we don't have any defensive holders or pass interference, that's the problem. Because if we're really trying to be physical with a team that's able to throw the football, we should just by natural case of how we play have penalties. And we didn't have a single one. And so that's something we got to fix. Well, we got to be more physical and put it on the referee to say, well, are they getting their hands on? Right. Or are they actually closing their hands and holding? And we didn't do a good job of that. So that's the part I mean, just being more physical and hands-on with the people we're playing. You know, we had one decent hard hit where DC was able to kind of get a hit on Todd on the sideline over there on the scramble when we had him cornered our sideline. Right. He went all the way back and
my man had him held up and he tried to get a hit on him.
Get about 5 yards out of it. We got a good hit on the end, but we just, we need to be more physical, and that's something that we're going to demand running to the football. Just something that we talked about as coaches, and we explained that to the kids yesterday on Monday about how we have to run to the football and we have to be physical. We're not going to play that way again. We had some times in that game in the second quarter where I kind of felt like, even from our coaching standpoint, our body language didn't say we still want to be in that game in the second quarter. And I think that's something that we can't, because it starts with the top. If us as coaches have bad body language at points, our kids are going to look at us because we are who they look to for in times of strife. They get their comfort from. And so we just got to be better, and we will be.
I tell people a lot of times, Tim Tebow to me is the best college quarterback I ever seen. I'm not a Florida fan or anything like that. But it wasn't because of his ability. It was because when he called a play, they believed.
Yes, sir.
And I've seen that done many times. Now, we're going to talk about our special teams because the past couple of weeks I've been talking about our special team, how special they were. Yep. And it was some positives and it was some negatives. Yep. And let's talk about the positives.
Man, look, I polled the coaches. I said, think in your head, in all your career coaching, when you returned a punt or a kick return for a touchdown, have you ever lost? I said, now, say you get both of those in a game, have you ever lost? Everybody's like, never. And so, it's, the fact that, we returned another kickoff return for a touchdown, we took a punt return back for a touchdown. Those are, big-time plays because, again, that affects every team we play now. We've returned a punt or a kick in for a touchdown in every game we played in. That's going to affect the other team's special team. That's going to continue to allow our offense to get good field position, whether it's, them sky kicking to us and it goes out of bounds, or we still catch the ball like on Saturday. Hardy had a good return. DC had another good return. We started at the 50-yard line, and so then they now on punt. Are they going to try to angle punts out of bounds, which then takes the punter out of his rhythm? You never know because you also have to deal with us coming to try to block a punt. So I think that's going to continue to bode well for us in how we do that. And obviously we had the miscues on the punt team this week. You get to the negatives where we actually dropped two, and our punter did an amazing job getting it off. Right. And actually got a great roll on that one. And then the second one, we weren't able to pick it back up and get it off, and they ended up getting the ball on the 5-yard line. And then we had a miscue on the snap where we had some miscommunication for whatever reason, and the ball hit our up back in the shoulder. And we were not calling the fake, I promise you. There was no fake being called. We didn't want to get our offense any more of a short field because they didn't need one on Saturday the way with how explosive they were being anyways. But it was an errant thing where it hit him in the shoulder, and then we gave him the ball I think like 35-yard line. So both of those miscues were super detrimental to us.
But you know what? I like what you said about them having to punt, and they may have to angle punt or whatever. Even on our sides with the miscues that we had on special teams, even in the game, we have to understand that this is high school football. This is high school football, and you're going to have those miscues because we see it in the pros sometimes. It's less in the pros, more in college, and the most in high school. So let's just remember that these kids are coming out here and they're giving their all and they're playing their hardest for you the fans. You know what I'm saying? And so I want to talk about Parks Renew.
Yep.
Rendu. How do you say his name?
Parks Rendu.
Rendu. I know Parks. That's my guy. He had, to me, I'm saying I was at the game. He had a great game. He had a couple of drops on him or whatever. But as far as reads and everything, that's one of the best games I've seen him play as far as getting the ball to the places he's supposed to get. So let's talk about your lead on offense.
Man, again, phenomenal kid, man. Makes every right read there is. Even on an interception, his arm, it's either a tip ball or his arm got hit. It's hard to tell on the screen if it's his forearm that gets hit or the kid actually just makes contact with the ball, which caused the ball to float a little bit. But I think he made great decisions again. Elias had 4 or 5 catches. Sean had another 4 catches. Stamos had 1 or 2. So, I think he threw a couple to the back. So he still completed balls to 5 or 6 people. He's never going to be a kid that's going to force the football. And, man, he took some shots in that game. And he shows you the toughness of a Camden County kid. And so just proud of him for, being that ever-present leader. He never gets frustrated. He's never the one that you're going to see come on the sideline and ostracize his teammates and go off on them, cuss at them. That's not his personality. He's going to always, pick them up even when he's hurting. I mean, he came over after one of the hits, and I was worried about him because he'd been over on the bench and was like holding his chest, taking deep breaths. And I'm like, Lord, not now. Lord, please no. But he ended up being all right, because how tough of a kid he is. But he's continuing to put us in great position, man, and make plays. And again, the quarterback's like the head coach, in a sense where the team gonna look at him.
He get all the wins and he get all the losses.
And again, I think, because our kids looked at him and he had steady eyes the whole entire time, they didn't give up because they believe in him. And I think that's the things that continue to help us bowl well as we move forward. You can tell that Parks is the unquestioned leader, him and Elias, of our offense, and those guys' eyes were right. Elias' eyes were full of fire because even though he's triple guarded, Elias is like, give me the ball.
And I want to give Zach Taylor. Zach Taylor. I watched him even at halftime. He was distraught at what was going on, and he came out and he fought the whole game. Absolutely. I watched him from that point on. And I want to. How about DC? That's David Coleman, and my partner Dundee. He told me. He said, man. He said, this man done ran for about 300 yards. Think about it. He ran over here. Ran. Yeah. I was like, he said, and he's going one-on-one with the guy on the other side. I was like, man, you don't realize that this kid done probably ran over 500 yards throughout the game just running behind people.
Absolutely. DC, man, I always tell him, he aggravating us all, get on my nerves. I say, but he's a phenomenal football player, man. Yeah. No, he's a great kid, though, man. Another one of those kids that will do anything you ask him. He's got a knack back there for how to return a kick. He understands the scheme that Coach Lester Davis has put in for us, all the different returns we have, and he's trusting it and he's hitting it. That's the biggest part is he has no fear of hitting it full speed and going. And I think he's showing himself to be the people question was he worth the offers and things that he had developed and gotten over the spring. I think he's showing he's worth that. And again, even like you say, all the running he's doing on all special teams, he's also going out there and playing man to man. In a lot of these games, and I think he gave up a couple out routes, but nothing big that was major. And
he'll grab you.
Yes, he will. Yes, he'll grab you. Yes, he will. He definitely will grab you.
Okay.
He will definitely grab you. And so I think DC was gave us those explosive plays that are going to continue the ball. Because again, we're not going to go out there and turn the ball over 4 times in the game. That's not going to be something that we do a lot of. And again, credit to Valdosta's explosive defense and well-coached defense and how they blitz you and how they give you different looks throughout a game. They created those turnovers by the way they play. But that's not going to be something. That's not going to be something we do all year. We haven't done that all year. It was. I think I'm comfortable in saying that was an anomaly of a quarter where we turned it over that many times, and we'll move forward and be better because of it.
I'm glad you mentioned Valdosta because I mean, losing the battle doesn't mean you lose the war.
No, sir.
So, I mean, we lost that battle, but the war is left to be seen. What's going on?
The war is to get into these playoffs, man. The region is the region. It's wide open. Anybody can beat anybody. Anybody can lose anybody. So we just got to continue to play, and you got to bounce back. Had we won the game, you can't say, we beat Valdosta. Now that's it. Now we come out here, Richmond Hill punch you in the face, and now you 1-1 when you probably could have been 2-0. So we got to, you got to flush that tape. We had to flush, and for us, it was a Saturday game, and we had to try to flush that thing on Sunday to get ready to move on. So, it definitely got to be ready to get ready for what's coming in Richmond Hill.
That's a good lead into Richmond Hill. We're 0-1 going into the region, but we're 5-1 overall. The 5 don't matter. Let's be honest. The 5 don't matter. We're 0-1 going into the region, and we're heading to a Richmond Hill team that's coming in 6-0.
Yes, sir. Physical ball club.
They're coming in 6-0, and they're coached by Matt Lazard. His brother, I think, is on the squad. He has I've been watching them for the past probably 12 years, and Richmond Hill has continually been better and better under Coach Lazard. And I mean, he got a couple of players over there. That Caleb Easterling, I've watched him because I called some games up in Savannah when they played against Effingham County, and this kid plays on both sides of the ball. On defense, you don't want to just play with the ball in front of him. And on offense, he can do almost anything. They'll put him in the Wildcat and try to finish you off with him.
Oh, I think, the O-line is amazing. They're blessed to have. We have 4 seniors. They have 5. Yeah. And a lot of those guys, I think at least 3 or 4 of them have started a bunch of different games for them. So that's something explosive about them. That's their calling card. They're gonna come out in 14 personnel and run it right at you. And they rotate those backs. Between Easterland, between Troop number 2, who's the starting running back, and then they use the quarterback number 1. They rotate all 3 of those guys back there. The biggest thing for us is getting penetration to make those guys have to go east-west, because if you allow them to go north-south, all 3 of those kids, 1, 2, and 5, have all taken the ball 60 yards when they're able to just go north-south. So we got to do a good job of getting some penetration, making them have to stop their feet and bounce some of those runs, because if we let them go north-south, they're going to have clock-eating drives. And our offense, which is shown again, like I said, again, another 37-point out, and, when you include special teams touchdowns, but that's a part of it, right? We're going to have to make sure we get stops to be able to let our offense get those opportunities to score points, because we know our offense can move the football.
No doubt. Now, you talked about their line. You got Thomas Z. I don't know. I can't pronounce Thomas' name. I've been dealing with him for a while. I can't pronounce his last name. He's number 73. He's 6'3", 315 pounds. Then you got, I don't know how to pronounce his first name, but his last name is Naki, and he's 6 foot, 315 pounds. These dudes are like some people movers.
Yes, sir.
And they're blocking for this quarterback, Kurt Scott. His change of direction. I watched his film. He liked the cut. He gonna he gonna dead leg you, and then he might spin on you or whatever. So, what you seeing and bottling him up, Coach?
It's gonna be about, we have to gap out. When you play teams like this, and then again, whether it's 1 tight end or 2 tight ends in the game, they're creating extra gaps. So we have to make sure we do a good job of gapping out on defense and making sure that we have a body for every single gap that's out there, and then making sure we got to keep at least 1 or 2 guys free unblocked to be able to make plays. Our whole thing is try to get a one-on-one, and then once we get the one-on-one, we got to make a play. It's no different than offensively. You want to do your best to get your guys in a one-on-one situation, whether it's passing the ball or running the ball, and then your guys got to win. And so that's kind of the biggest thing for us, is finding the one-on-one to create, and then making the play.
And defensively, they have Gabe Baldwin. He's a physical linebacker. Yeah. I watched him for the last couple of years, and the kid is a sideline to sideline linebacker that won't quit. He won't quit. Yep. I promise you, this middle linebacker will not quit.
Yeah. He's very, very electric to the ball, man. Plays football the right way. Somebody that you see run, like he sees it, he goes. There's no hesitation. He is coming when he feels like he diagnosed to play. He is coming downhill. Like I say, he's not playing sideways linebacker. He's old school and getting downhill left and right and how he plays. So like I say, it's going to be a good challenge, man. This region is going to be what it's going to be. Everybody you play, and heck, people were trying to say Tiff wasn't going to be good, and look, Tiff went out there against them last week and
almost beat them,
and had multiple opportunities to win the game. I think Tiff loses by 4 points, and I want to say they got 1 kick block and might have missed another one, and went for it on the 4th down there in the red zone. So that's you see right there, even Richmond Hill got tested, and then Colquitt won their game against Lowndes on the last-second field goal after they put a drive together to get some first down. So the region's going to be what it's going to be. I don't think we're not done seeing close games. It's going to be close games across the board. You're going to see, if you call anybody beating somebody an upset, you may see the underdog win a few of the games where people are just picking up the people, because you got to show up and play every week. And when you have these slobber knocker fights, every week, are you healthy going into the next game? Are all your kids available? So it's gonna be an interesting next 4 weeks, man. Next month.
Yes, Wildcat against Wildcat once again. Friday night though, we'll be home, right?
Yes, sir. Praise God. Back at Chris Gilman. I'm looking forward to what
with the crazies. What's your student section name? What's the name of the student section?
They call us the letters, I believe, man. I'm just looking forward to watching the letters. It's a blessing for me to see, because I'm not used to, from first row to last row all the way across. Seeing that many kids, man, come out to support their classmates. So I'm looking forward to that again, and again playing with our band again, just having the atmosphere that we create here. I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, Coach. Well, I want to get on this last subject, because I hear a lot of people talking. They tell me, say, this ain't Florida. This ain't Florida. Coach coming into Region 1. Region 1, 6A.
Yeah.
Georgia. This is a whole different. Listen, man, this is one thing I do know. if you can coach, you can coach. If you can't coach, you can't coach. And I'm not saying anything about anybody else, but if you can coach, you can coach. But what do you think? What do you think? Because I know you've had the question in private. Somebody said something. What do you think about Georgia? But when you hear them say, because I know you hear it.
Yeah.
If you ain't heard it, I'm telling you, this is what's being said. You know what I'm saying?
No, it's like I told the kids, man. Matter of fact, we played it. It was back. I first said it to the kids when we played against Benedictine in the scrimmage. I said, if and when. And they were like, what? I said, if and when we lose a game, guys, you got to keep the outside noise out, inside noise in. And so the if and when this happened, and I'm a realist, when it happened, because it was going to happen, yes. Whether it was week 1, 2, 3, 4, because like I said, the goalposts will always be moved when you're successful and you had a program like any of the Region 1 programs.
Right.
The same things I hear Coach Calhoun going to hear, the same things I hear Coach Felton going to hear. And so, because Coach Felton, they beat us, and now they're going against Coker. The next thing somebody will say, well, can y'all beat Coker? It's going to the goalposts always move for all of us. The thing I'll say is that, the biggest, if there's a difference, it's execution. I think that, everybody in this region is good at executing because of the time that we're allotted to be able to have our kids be prepared, and the big staffs and quality of staff. We've got 4 or 5 former head coaches on our staff.
Right,
Same thing at Valdosta. They've got former head coaches. They've got what people consider to be one of the best offensive line coaches in the entire country for high school football at Valdosta. Same thing like you said with Richmond Hill staff. They've got great coaches. Coach. I
know Tiff do, because they brought the whole squad from Bainbridge.
She's got a great staff. Yep. Coach Carter at Lowndes is a great staff. everybody in this region have great staffs, and so it's Region 1 is just Region 1. You can go to the 5A district with Perry and Ware and Coffee and Lee and all those guys. So just everybody gets put in different situations. For me, football is football, and every game is a big game for us because we're at Camden County High School. So it was a big game back in week 1 when we played Brunswick, and we had not beat them in 2 years. It was a big game when Spruce Creek came in. It was a big game because we're a part of it. And so for me, it's just going to be about, like I said, it's going to be about us executing and not making the simple, small mistakes, and then making the team actually beat us. And again, not giving them easy possessions and easy scores and making mistakes to make things easy for them. And that's a part. And again, does that start at the top? Yes, everything starts at the top, when you're in this level of football.
Well, I came out to practice yesterday. I saw people being held accountable.
Absolutely.
And that's good. I mean, you let the kids know they were being held accountable. You let the coaches know they were being held accountable. So nobody can say that we're blaming anybody. We're blaming us.
Everybody.
We're blaming Wildcat Nation. I mean, we had fans out, but we didn't have fans out like we could have had fans out, which I'm not saying that's a bad thing. You talking about a Saturday, 1 o'clock, people came out, but the atmosphere wasn't the same for them or for us. Yep. And so Friday night, the atmosphere should be electric.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be electric. And like I had a great young lady tell me, she gonna laugh when she see it. I'm gonna say her name, but she said, Coach, even if we play them in a parking lot at 2 a.m., we got to be ready to go, because that's what Camden County Wildcats do. And that's my challenge to our kids, to our coaches. Man, if it's in a parking lot at 2 a.m., that's what we got to go play at. We got to go play. No excuses about nothing. We got to be ready to go when it's time. When they say it's time to go, and both parties agree that we're going to play at this time and this day, it's time to show up, and it's time to get out, and it's time to play physical Wildcat football.
I agree. And so 7 o'clock or 7:30?
7:30.
7:30 Friday.
Yep, everybody be safe through the storm. Pray to God that we come out of it unscathed unlike last time, and we get back to normal on Friday and be ready to go.
Like we said before, the conditions is the same for everybody. We all going through this together. We pray for every team in this region, every team in this state, every team in this country.
Sir. Yes, sir.
I mean, because everybody's going through different stuff. We'll see y'all Friday night. Go Wildcats.
Stand up. If you a real one, then put your hands up. Cause you don't work too hard just to back up now. We used to be bros, where we at now. Yeah, we killing the game. When I walk through, they knew my